Hello, and welcome to Legendary Africa, your African myth and legend podcast.
The one and the only.
Well, not the only, but definitely the one. How's everyone today? Are you still quarantined? Are you enjoying that?
How's it going for you? Is it doing things for you?
How's your marriage? How's the kids? Tell us everything.
The deets. Are you still married?
So I just told Tashira before we started recording that her friend sent her an entire essay. Because, I do that. I look over people's shoulders to see what they're texting.
Yeah, she's nosy like that.
I'm creepy like that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just saw like an entire paragraph of text.
Yeah, it's how Nadia and I text, eh? We kind of just, we don't like write one big thing.
Yeah.
It's like several messages.
It's just bing, bing,
It's just like
bing.
11 messages right now. Usually it's 21, so actually it's less than normal.
21. At like 7 in the morning or some shit, because that child goes to sleep at like 8 in the evening.
Actually it's swapped now, I think, because of quarantine. Now she just goes to... Why are we talking about her sleeping patterns?
Revealing your secrets. So how are you?
I'm good, hey?
Yeah?
Yeah, life is good. I'm moisturized.
It seems like the terrible cold spell in Johannesburg is finally over.
Oh, I forgot this is our weather segment. Yes, the sun is out, things are warming up, the birds are chirping.
Yeah, this is our weather segment. It's a thing now.
Okay, so right now it's how many degrees?
You know that do 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 do. Hello, your weather for today. So, what's new?
Yeah, so I got some news for you.
Uh-huh.
And I shall tell you right now.
Good. Give it to me.
So, I read this article, which actually came out on the 12th of June, and apparently we have found an ancient Roman board game in a Norwegian burial mound.
Norwegian?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So it's actually roughly about 1,700 years old, the board game itself, and it dates to around 300 AD, so it's more or less the Roman Iron Age.
Okay.
And they found a 4-sided dice and 18 circular tokens, and actually I got a picture if you want to look at it.
Oh,
so these are the dice. They're long elongated dice.
Oh yeah,
I can post a picture of it.
I was about to say that looks like no whatever. It looks like no dice I've ever seen.
Yeah. What's interesting here is that it seems to reveal. I mean, if it was in a Norwegian burial ground, it reveals ties between probably trade ties, social ties, cultural ties between Norway and Rome. That is pretty interesting.
I mean, just to put me in the picture historically, the Vikings and Romans, did they coexist or am I totally off?
This is a good question.
Yeah, you always say that when you don't know.
Yes, I don't really know. I'm pretty sure the Vikings were quite a lot older.
Okay.
But I'm not sure about, descendants and stuff like that.
And then the Roman Empire didn't spread all the way up to Norway?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, that's interesting.
Not in terms of ruling, in terms of, trading and stuff, I think they did.
So this, how do they know it's a board game?
So there were references to a type of game like this from 2 different Roman authors. One is from Ovid, I think. But that describes a board game called Ludus Latrunculorum, which means Game of Mercenaries. And it's basically, so the whole objective is that it's kind of like chess, so you've got black pieces and white pieces. Mm-hmm. And the king, I think, is trying to advance to the other side of the board.
Right.
And the other pieces are trying to block him off and eventually corner him. So it's kind of like chess cross...
Go.
Yeah, Go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Japanese Go.
Yeah. So apparently it's very, very rare to find this kind of board games. Only 15 such dice have been found in Norway to date.
Wow.
And I just thought that was kind of interesting because you don't... it's interesting to find these small little things that indicate huge cultural exchange in a way.
Yeah.
Because also it was shown that the burial mound had evidence of being a wealthy burial mound. So
wait, how do we know that?
So usually there's
is it just like gold powder sprinkled atop the mound?
Usually a sign of wealth is either expensive crockery or clothes and stuff. Obviously clothes is going to be
like, damn,
degrading.
I got them Le Creuset pots.
Yeah, or like even armor or weapons, something like that.
Oh, I see.
So they think that it's from a wealthy person. So clearly there was a Roman noble and a Norwegian noble maybe who were playing, or they just managed to get a Roman game. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I just found that kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I have a duck story.
What now?
I think they're ducks. Yeah, they're ducks.
Okay.
So, a woman actually hatched ducklings from eggs that she found in a supermarket.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I know. I was like, what? You can do that?
Interesting. Okay.
So, her name is Charlie Lello,
Mhm.
and she was basically just looking for something to do because she'd recently been furloughed. And she saw this video of a woman who had incubated quail eggs to birth. So she was like, sure, I mean, why don't I try it with duck eggs that I got at the Waitrose supermarket? So she incubated the eggs for like a month. And then one day she just heard like little baby duckling sounds. And yeah, they'd hatched.
Were these eggs supposed to be for consumption?
Yeah, they would have been.
But I thought the eggs for consumption aren't able to, like, they're...
So, a spokesman from the Waitrose actually told the BBC that as long as the eggs have been fertilized, they're actually not different from other viable eggs. I mean, sorry, they're actually not different from other non-fertilized eggs unless they're incubated.
Oh, that's kind of... I feel kind of weird now.
No, I mean, like...
it could have been little baby chicks.
Well, the incubation process is basically important for actually producing the ducklings. So it's kind of like, you know, is an embryo a fetus? Is a fetus a baby? It isn't, you know.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah,
But that's fascinating.
Yeah, and the sweetest part of all of this is that she had 3 ducklings and she named them Beep, Peep, and Meep.
Oh my goodness. That's so adorable.
I know. I was like, heartwarming story for these times, you know.
Also kind of cute that she was just like, I'm gonna try and do this and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's like, you know what I decided to do in quarantine? Become a mother. A mother of ducks.
I actually wanted to tell you 3 other things very shortly. Just a bit of good news. I thought that people might appreciate. This is all news about some animals, which I can't find a downside to.
Animal stories.
So the good news is that in the Kruger National Park in South Africa, a ranger came across a whole pride of lions dozing in the sun on the road because there's no visitors anymore. So they feel that they can relax and just enjoy the sun. And I just think that's so cute.
Yeah, I imagine they're also soaking heat up from the tarmac.
Yeah, you can see a picture here. They're all just passed out in the sun. Like a whole family.
Those 2 are spooning.
Oh yeah, actually I think
the male lion
male
literally has his arm around the female.
Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, they're just relaxing a little bit. And then also the black rhino, which is actually the world's most endangered animal.
Yes, I actually thought that they'd gone extinct.
No, so the good thing is that in 2012 the black rhino population was just over 4,800. But thanks to relocating groups and clamping down on poaching, they've risen to around 5,500.
Wow.
So it's not a big increase, but they're coming back.
That's awesome. I'm so happy about that. It was really one of the truly depressing things.
Yeah.
Especially, I think, you know, I have a lot of feelings about poaching, about hunting. Even with the licenses that are issued internationally, I just think that it's so wrong. It's immoral, you know.
No, yeah, I mean, I don't get the whole thing about hunting for pleasure.
Yeah, I heard that in Tanzania, actually, they've had a decrease in the albino giraffe population from poaching. I think there's like some kind of superstition about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then lastly, apparently, so 240 years ago, the white-tailed eagle went extinct in England.
Okay.
Miraculously, the giant birds of prey have decided to return.
Oh!
They saw the eagle sweeping over the North York moors. It apparently has 2.5 meter wingspan.
Holy shit.
So these guys are also back. I just thought that was really nice to read, you know.
Yeah, I have to say, coronavirus, bad for humans, good for the earth.
It's true.
There's been such a resurgence of animal population basically all over the world. I mean, the flamingos came back to India.
Yeah, the flamingos came back to India. The dolphins came back to Venice.
Yeah, that's how clean the water is now.
I feel like there's goats just sort of wandering around now.
Which, to be honest, not actually that unusual in South Africa.
True, but these are mountain goats.
Like, even in...
wandering around the city.
Like, even in urban areas, it's not that uncommon to actually find little goat populations here and there. Little fun fact if you're ever in the country and wondering why there's livestock on the road.
True.
So, why don't we read some reviews?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so these are such amazing reviews. Thank you. This one is from EBP Finance, which I'm pretty sure is the podcast New Age Influences. They said, "Great show. This show stands out. It's engaging, unique, interesting, and the hosts are incredible. Give it a try. It'll be worth it."
Oh, thank you, New Age Podcast.
And then another review, which is on Podchaser by GM in Training. A really interesting podcast looking at shapeshifters outside of the more popular European context. Also very funny as well as informative. That was a review for our first episode, Curse of the Were-Hyena.
Oh, that's so sweet. Really lovely.
Thanks,
yeah,
everyone.
I have to say, thank you for reviews. We really do appreciate each and every one of them. And it's always good to see feedback on what we're doing, you know?
Yeah, that, we're kind of on the right track. People like it. So thank you.
Yeah,
and keep them coming.
So I want to end off my news with a book recommendation, actually.
All right. Hey, ready?
Yeah, I'm so excited. The final installment of the Devabud trilogy by S.K. Chakraborty just came out like a few days ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Empire of Gold. And it rounds up this absolutely brilliant fantasy series based on Jinn.
Okay.
And kind of like, the world of Jinn. And it's set pretty much in Egypt. The main character is Egyptian. And it's just really fun. I would recommend it to anyone who enjoys fantasy and also enjoys like a little bit of mythology mixed in.
So this is a trilogy, yeah?
Yeah, interestingly, the Jinn actually pop up a lot in African mythology. I think
they do.
I always associated it more with the Arab nations and things like that.
Makes sense why it pops up.
But yeah, because of the strong Arabic influence in much of North and West Africa, we actually have a lot of kind of cross-cultural pollination going on.
Yeah, that's true. That's very cool.
Yeah, anyway.
Sorry, who's the author again?
S.K. Chakraborty.
Cool.
Okay, it's my turn first, so I'm gonna give you something spooky.
Okay, I am ready.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the description of this podcast, and I feel like we don't go there enough, so...
Excuse me. The way got kind of spooky.
I think they're cute.
You're weird.
But yeah, buckle up, because if you want to get crazy, we can get crazy. Okay. Today I'm taking us to the dead center of Africa. I mean, it's not dead. It's in the center.
I was like, interesting. It's wasting away.
What I mean is, it's the most central you can get. It's the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Okay.
And as I'm sure most people know, this is a country made up mostly of dense equatorial rainforest. So we're looking at steamy and leafy.
The people are steamy.
And within this rainforest, monstrous spirits lurk.
Alright.
These spirits are called the Biloko, and you better hope if you're ever in that rainforest, you never run into them.
Oh, okay.
So this mythology belongs to the Mongo people, which is the second largest ethnic group in the DRC. I'm going to be abbreviating it because it's a really long name.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really an umbrella term for a larger number of sub-ethnicities.
Okay.
Now, it's worth mentioning that the DRC, like many countries in Africa, has an extremely diverse range of languages and cultures. I mean, just to give you an idea of this, the Lingala language, which is the language primarily spoken in the DRC, contains over 200 dialects. And that's within one language.
200?
Yep.
In this one place?
For this one language.
Cool.
So
I'm never gonna learn all that.
Yeah, it's amazing. There's just like small changes between tribes and communities and so on. Historically, as far as we can tell, the Mongo people settled along the north and western river valleys of the country in around 1000 CE.
Okay.
There they farmed staples like yam, cassava, bananas, that kind of thing. They were eventually colonized by Belgium, which led most of the Mongo people to convert to Christianity. And this actually caused some conflict with Islamic groups in neighboring parts of the DRC. Incidentally, the Belgians also brought sleeping sickness and syphilis.
Sleeping sickness?
Yeah. Yep, you never heard of sleeping sickness? Google it.
Okay.
I ain't got no time
I can tell.
to educate you.
I apologize.
And these two diseases almost wiped out the entire population.
What the fuck?
Colonists. As we might say, thanks, colonists. So, I mean, there's that. But on the plus side, the Belgians also brought coffee as a compensation. So, like, your whole family's dead, but here's an espresso.
I mean, like, that's a fair trade. Oh, gosh.
So, like many other African countries, the DRC fell prey to the slave trade of the 18th and 19th centuries, and members of the Mongo population were routinely captured and held offshore in Zanzibar. I'm sure people have heard of the notorious Stone Town, where they were basically shipped off to various plantations. Okay, enough with the really depressing stuff. Let's get on to the mysterious Biloki.
This unfortunately is always going to happen when it comes to history.
Yeah, I think anywhere there have been people of color, there has been exploitation on some level, so we can't avoid it. But my story today is about the Biloki.
Okay.
Now, the singular for Biloki is eloko.
Okay.
And they're said to be small dwarf-like creatures with hair made of grass, big snouts, and mouths large enough to fit an entire human body whole.
Wait, what? I'm trying to imagine this.
Yeah, I imagine their jaws kind of just disengaging like a python.
Yeah, that's what I'm also thinking.
And then just swallowing a human being.
Do they swallow human beings?
Well, I assume that that's what the jaws are for.
Oh, God.
They also have long claws, you know, in case the mouth thing was not enough. They're naked apart from leaves that cover their body, sort of Peter Pan style.
Okay.
So the Biloki reside in deep, dark parts of the rainforest where they live in hollow trees and protect their hoard of precious fruit and game. These guys are insane about fruit.
Okay.
Biloki are magical creatures possessing little bells, which they use to lure intruders upon their realm.
Okay. I was going to be like, oh, that's so cute, and then I was like, okay, never mind.
Yeah, they're magic bells. They're death bells.
Cool. The other, what's that creature called? The one that lures you in with the light?
Hinky Punks?
Yeah.
Is that a real thing, or is that just a Harry Potter thing?
But that's real now, so...
I know Harry Potter is in your head, Harry. But why should that mean that it is not real? Anyway, so basically, if you're a hunter and you're not, like, you're anything less than a powerful magician, you really stand no chance against these creatures.
Okay.
Or possibly you could have amulets.
Okay.
And those could help you. So some believe that Biloki are actually ancestral spirits, and that for some reason they have a bone to pick with the living. Like, I imagine it's just general jealousy and annoyance that living people actually get to eat the fruit and enjoy the game.
So they can't actually eat that, they just hoard it.
Yeah, they're just like, we're hoarding all this food so that alive people can't eat them.
They're petty.
You know? Now, I've got an actual tale of the Biloki, which I've basically copied verbatim from the site called abookofcreatures.com, and that itself quotes the material from Jan Nappert's Encyclopedia of Myths and Legends, African Mythology. So this is how the story goes. A Nkundo man once built a fenced-in hut in the forest to find game. Whenever the husband left for the village, he would warn his wife, "Remember, if you hear the sound of a little bell, don't answer or you will die." Yet, as the monotonous hours went by, the wife found herself entranced by the ringing of a bell deep in the forest, coming closer and closer. Finally, she ran outside, calling to the Biloki. "I'm here! Come to me!" she cried. And the Biloki duly appeared. "Here I am, I have come to you," he announced. The wife was overjoyed and prepared a meal for her guest, but the Biloki refused the fried bananas and fish. "I only eat human meat. And I am so hungry," he wheedled. "You are a delicious woman. Give me a piece of flesh."
So flirtatious.
Does that turn you on? Does it for you?
I mean, I would like to occasionally call the delicious woman, although probably not followed then by being actually eaten alive.
You got problems, eh?
Yeah, that's true.
Let's just put that aside for a second and carry on with the story. The woman willingly proffered her arm, and the Biloki took a portion of meat, which he roasted and devoured.
Wait, so is she hypnotized? Something like this kind of this?
I think that at this point, the music of the bells had ensnared her.
Okay, cool.
Then the Biloki left, leaving the woman to bandage her wound in silence.
Oh, you didn't eat it, like, completely.
No, he just wanted a piece of flesh. You know, no big deal. When her husband returned, he saw his wife bedridden and in pain. "I have sores," she said. "Then take the bandage off and have some medicine for it." She refused and would not explain further. But the next day, the same gruesome episode repeated itself.
Oh, God.
The husband left, the wife entertained the Iloko, and the Iloko left the wife with another deep injury.
He's slowly eating her. Oh, that's much worse. Never mind.
This time, the husband did not believe his wife's excuses and decided to lie in wait instead of returning to the village. When the Iloko returned that day, he pulled out a knife, told the woman that this time he desired her liver. The husband immediately fired an arrow into the dwarf, then ran him through with his spear and decapitated him.
Okay, cool.
But the Iloko had already stabbed the wife in the liver, and she died.
Wait, what? How that happened so quickly?
So, I won't lie, the first time I read this, a little pee may have come out of me.
Yeah, that's pretty creepy.
I'm just like, this is an entire fucking fiasco. Like, what the hell? So, in other tales, Biloko actually function more like a vicious tribe of warriors.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, there's one tale that tells of how the grandsons of the death spirit, Ilelangonda, named Likinda, Intonge, and Lianja, once went to war with the Biloko. The grandsons tricked the Biloko into an ambush, luring them with mbole fruit. Now, I gotta tell you, I looked everywhere on the internet for this mbole fruit because I really wanted to know what it is and so on, and I just couldn't find any information.
Oh.
Like, everything I pulled up on the internet were marula fruit, or in one memorable case, apples.
Apples.
And I was like, I mean, yeah, for all I know, mbole are apples, but I don't think so. I think they're wild fruit of some kind. So if anyone's from the DRC or in a place where they cultivate these fruit, I'd really like to know what they look like.
And what they taste like.
Yeah, and what they taste like. So please send me that information. As the Biloko walked along the path laid out by their enemies, they were picked off one by one until only the wizard Inkankanga and his wife were left alive.
Okay.
Likinda then transformed himself into a baby, which persuaded Inkankanga's wife to lift him into her arms.
What the fuck?
Okay, now, if you think that's weird, just buckle up because actually it gets weird from here.
Wait, what? It wasn't weird before?
No. That was normal. Now, Likinda, in his baby form, somehow climbed up a tree with, I assume, his superpowered baby orangutan arms.
Okay.
Ostensibly to throw fruit down from the trees to his brand new adoptive parents.
Oh, because that's normal.
Yeah, totally. That's what your newborn should do. I'm sorry, is your baby not able to climb trees age 2 months? You gotta check that out. That is a developmental issue. However, instead of throwing down fruit, he transformed himself into fruit.
What?
And falling from the tree was swallowed by Inkankanga. This was on purpose. He wanted to get swallowed.
But also, sorry, who just swallows a fruit that's being pelted at you?
I know.
Like, I would catch that first.
It's like, Bright, you will die.
Yeah.
So, understandably horrified at the fact that he had just swallowed what was possibly his only child, Inkankanga decided to act totally rational, and he murdered his wife immediately.
This is a roller coaster ride.
Because apparently it's her fault that she picked up the baby.
Okay.
So she had to die. And then he spent the rest of the day begging Likinda not to kill him.
From the inside?
Yep. So, as you might guess, Likinda was super chill with this whole idea of just hanging out with Inkankanga for, the rest of his days. So, he cut his way out from the inside.
Okay, wow.
Hercules style, in Disney's Hercules, he's swallowed by the Hydra and then, cuts his way out.
That's disgusting. What kind of murder show did you just describe?
I told you it was getting, maybe not spooky so much as gory.
Yeah, it's just disgusting.
This episode on an African Horror
To
Story.
be honest. Okay, so what?
So then after that, Likinda basically just ambled over to the nearest village and he told a story and, boasted about it. I'm sure he told it to thunderous applause and a series of puking episodes.
And everyone was okay with it?
Yeah, they were like, bro, amazing.
What the fuck?
So that is the story of the Biloko of the Democratic Republic of Congo.
I just need a moment to process all of that.
Well, while you're processing, my sources were Wikipedia, Jan Nappert's Encyclopedia of Myths and Legends, African Mythology, and by the same author, Bantu Myths and Other Tales. And if people are offended by the term Bantu, I totally understand, even though, it's not necessarily offensive, but I think it was used offensively in this thing because these books were published in the 70s, so I gather that there was some racism going on there. But
Show,
yeah.
okay, what the fuck? That was, I thought the shit started when she got stabbed in the liver, that other lady.
That was mild.
Mm.
At least she didn't get cut out from the inside.
Okay, well, that was great.
And on that cheery note, let's go to our promo break. Today's podcast shout out goes to Afro Tales Podcast. This is a podcast focused on folk tales, lore, myths, and legends that are a part of our everyday lives. Join Amon Mazingo as he explores the Afrocentric side of folktale arena spanning the Americas and Caribbean. If you want more stories based on the people of the African diaspora or just have a fun time listening to folktales, lore, myths, and legends, this is the podcast for you.
Alright, are you ready for my story?
Probably not, but hit me with it anyway.
Alright. This is Shlalalozi. Shlalalozi? Did I just say that? Shlalalozi, Mpempe, and the Nabulela.
Ooh, okay.
And this is a myth from our home province, KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa.
Oh, shout out to our hometown.
Okay, so, I mean, we know quite a bit of history of our home, but I'm going to go over it anyway. So, KwaZulu-Natal is a province in South Africa located in the southeast of the country with a long, gorgeous shoreline beside the Indian Ocean.
Yeah, baby.
Many a time have we played in those waters.
From the west coast to the best coast. Am I right?
It shares borders with Mozambique, Eswatini, and Lesotho. So on the 25th of December, 1497, the Portuguese explorer
Vasco da Gama, the sailor man,
saw our coast and named it Natal, which is the Portuguese name for Christmas.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. He named a coast
A
Christmas?
Christmas. Yeah, Christmas coast. You know, like Christmas Island?
Right.
Yeah.
Why not? Maybe he discovered it on Christmas.
But I just said that.
Oh, fuck.
On the 25th of December, 1497.
I'm sorry, I totally missed that.
So this just shows Rashalia does not listen to anything I say. And it's fine.
No, I was distracted by Vasco da Gama.
Yeah, true. That's true. During the 1830s and early 1840s, the northern part of what is now KwaZulu-Natal was occupied by the Zulu Kingdom. The first European settlers, mostly British, established Port Natal, a trading post, but made no attempts to occupy the interior. So they just was like, this is our port, you guys do whatever you want. But by 1837, the Boers entered the area via the Drakensberg Mountains. Do you want to say anything about those mountains?
Well,
lovely.
what I was going to say is they took the most difficult way.
I guess it was a show of fortitude, of strength.
What was it with the four trekkers and
They needed to
going
trek,
over mountains?
It was a trek, and so they shall trek.
Every day I'm trekking.
Ding, 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 ding.
The first trekkies.
Oh man. Yeah, so they came in through the Drakensberg Mountains and engaged in quite a few battles with the Zulu Kingdom, eventually defeating them in 1838 during the Battle of Blood River.
Boo.
Which allowed them to establish the Boer Republic of Natalia in the southern part of the province, while the Zulus held control over the southern part.
Okay.
However, by 1843, Britain took over sorry, Boers.
Boo.
And renamed it the British colony of Natal.
So basically everyone was happy with Christmas as the...
Yeah, they were like, you know
term.
what? The Portuguese are here and we should not bump them away. Then from 1860 onward, the British brought Indians over to work in the sugar plantations on the coast as indentured labourers.
Where we spent our lives cutting sugarcane.
Because, we love that shit.
So interesting fact, this actually tells us that all South African Indians come from a limited number of ships that came over from India, which means that in some way we are related.
Oh, yeah.
We are
Probably.
inbred as fuck.
Oh, yes.
We're so inbred, we're sandwiches. My favorite joke.
Yeah, I can tell. In 1879, the British and the Zulus engaged in the Anglo-Zulu War, which resulted, unfortunately, in the defeat of the Zulu Kingdom despite initial victories. In 1880, the first Anglo-Boer War was waged, in which the Boers actually triumphed, forcing the British into agreeing to peace terms. However, a second war was triggered upon the discovery of diamonds and gold in Boer-run states, which eventually resulted in a British victory.
Right.
Those dang diamonds, eh? In 1910, Britain then renamed the area the Union of South Africa, and then by 1961, the British monarchy ended, leaving South Africa to officially enter apartheid.
Cool. So things just got better from there.
Oh yeah, now it's on the up, you know. So I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone knows what apartheid was, but it's a system of institutionalized racial segregation. How else would you like to describe it? A shit show.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't like to describe it. I think it's
Yeah.
probably one of the topics most known by people outside of South Africa. So
yeah, so apartheid rarely actually began as early as 1948, but when the British monarchy officially left.
Right.
By 1994, apartheid ended, and the areas previously known as KwaZulu and Natal joined to become KwaZulu-Natal, our home province.
And that's its name
That's
in
its
modern
name
day.
now. Yeah. So I just want to say some real legends who were born in KwaZulu-Natal was Albert Lutuli, who was actually the first non-white and the first person from outside Europe and the Americas to be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize.
Oh, interesting.
I actually didn't know that. Okay, so anyway, that was just a bit of history. Then down to the actual myth. In one particular village in KwaZulu, so this is before it was KwaZulu-Natal, Chief Mashlevana was the father of many healthy sons, but he was not yet content as he wished for a daughter. At last, one of his wives bore him a daughter with dark eyes who laughed easily at anything he did.
Aww.
In celebration, he arranged a feast and dances. Mashlevana named her Shlaloze, meaning little princess, and doted on her as much as he could, giving her the best beads and clothes in the land.
Oh, that's so cute.
However, some of the other children felt jealous over how much Shlaloze was receiving from her father, but they remained silent. When Shlaloze was 7, she found the other children laughing at something moving in a nearby river. It was a small paw which kept rising to the surface in a flurry before vanishing under the water. Ignoring the others, she waded into the river and rescued a young puppy with a stone tied around its neck.
Oh my god, the story just gets cuter
I
with
know,
every
right?
sentence.
She quickly carried it out and ran to her father's house, where she carefully presented the puppy to her father, who allowed her to keep it once she explained that someone tried to murder it. Shlaloze named it Mpempe, and Mashlevana was content knowing that Mpempe would keep his daughter safe always.
Do we know what Mpempe means by any chance?
Unfortunately, no, I don't. If anyone does know, though, do tell me. This story, literally, I could only find one source for it.
Right.
So I don't even know where it came from, who started it. I would love to know more information about it. So several years passed, and Shlaloze grew into a beautiful, happy, and kind young woman, which only made the other young woman angrier. Mpempe had by now grown into an old dog and could no longer follow Shlaloze around everywhere.
Oh, puppy.
And this is where things get kind of rough. So this allowed the other woman to hatch a plan to get rid of Shlaloze. One day, they were sent to fetch red ochre from the nearby clay pits, and Shlaloze joined them without her father knowing. As Shlaloze bent down to scoop some clay, the others pushed her into the pit and buried her alive.
Ew! Oh no! Holy
Sorry,
shit!
the cute story kind of turned a bit weird.
Literally the worst way to die.
Yeah. When the girls came back without Shlaloze, Mpempe began to whine and managed to chew through his leash. When Mashlevana returned to the village from his day, he asked about where his daughter was, but the girls denied that Shlaloze went with them and instead claimed that she went off with some man to the nearest river. These hoes.
So not only did they kill her, they also smeared her reputation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, not that there's anything wrong with, going off with men. I totally support people having, consenting adults doing their thing.
To lie to her father.
Yeah.
To paint a bad image of.
I do think that the intention in this case was to,
I mean, it's just like these girls. They just murdered her.
Yeah.
But now suddenly Mpempe came running out of nowhere, covered from head to tail in red mud, a little wooden amulet belonging to Shlaloze hanging from his mouth. Instantly, Mashlevana knew where his daughter was, and carrying Mpempe, rushed off with some others to the clay pits.
Oh, it's so sweet that he thought to carry the dog.
No, their dog is the hero. As they came to the clay pits, a cheerful yell sounded from the trees, and looking up, Mashlevana saw his daughter sitting on a large branch, her body covered in mud, but safe.
Oh, wow. Wait, so did Mpempe pull her out?
Pulled out. So the hole in which Shlaloze was buried in was surrounded by claw marks where Mpempe had desperately dug her up, saving her in time before she could suffocate.
Oh, mother.
It's a girl and her dog, and the girl's best friend is her dog, and I may be missing my dogs, which is why I chose the story. So Mashlevana knew that the other girls had lied to him. As punishment, he told the girls to bring back the white, snowy skin of the Nabulela.
What is the Nabulela?
A fierce, long-toothed water creature who lived in a small lake near the village. Now, this creature was renowned in the village. You do not go near it, you will die. So it was an aggressive creature who particularly favored human flesh.
Nice.
So the woman was like, fuck, I know I regret all my life choices. But they were as terrified of the chief. So they were like, we gotta do this. So they collected porridge cakes to lure the creature out and set up a trap before leaving. What they did is that they left one of their circular cattle kraals, which is basically just an enclosure, open at each end, and they left 4 of their number to guard the gates on one side and 2 at the other entrance. So they left to the lake, and they sang a song to lure the Nabulela out, which kind of reminded me a bit of the Tekane myth that I told, where you always have to sing to bring out the creature. So I wonder what that commonality between all these myths.
Music and singing is deeply embedded in cultures all over Africa, and in a lot of the mythology as well, so it's not really surprising.
Yeah, so they left to the lake and sang a song to lure the Nabulela out. A snow-white creature with long, shining teeth rose out of the water, its mouth opening as it rose. Now, can you imagine like a hippopotamus opening its mouth?
Oh, yeah.
Like that gaping yawn.
Yep.
That's that, only long, sharp teeth.
Oh, great.
So the woman kept singing their song and backed slowly away, using their porridge cakes to lure it onto the bank and onto land. As soon as it was on land, they turned and ran back to the village, the Nabulela chasing them now that it smelled human flesh. Exhausted but desperate, the woman finally managed to run into the kraal and out the other side, shutting both gates as soon as the Nabulela was on the enclosure. Their fathers then came out and threw their spears at it until it lay dying on the floor, which I kind of felt a bit bad for the creature. I mean, sure, I was trying to eat them, but
yeah,
to be trapped like that,
they're the ones that lured him in the first place.
Also, they were murderers, so they were attempted murderers. So
you kind of hoping
if they die,
they were going to get eaten.
Yeah, but anyway, apparently the story is about forgiveness. So the girls were forgiven, and the chief wore a cape of the Nabulela skin from their deed, content that his daughter was safe as long as Mpempe was by her side.
Oh.
And that's basically the story, and I just thought it was cute.
So I googled what Mpempe means.
Oh, thank goodness you found, yes.
And as far as I can tell, it means whistle.
Whistle and he'll come.
I know.
Also, whistle and those creepy fairies also come.
But anyway, I think that's a cute name for a puppy.
Yeah. So, nothing particularly scary, but I just thought it was a really sweet story. I'm all about the sweet today.
I love that story.
Right?
That's really
it's
super
basically
cute.
A girl and her dog.
And it is kind of nice that it ended in, if not redemption, but forgiveness.
Yeah, so his whole thing, I think, was that he saw that Mpempe had kind of managed to rescue, given Shalozi a chance to live. So he thought it was only right to give these girls a chance to redeem themselves, or to prove, do something good.
Yeah, this king really setting an example for all other kings.
Right, because I don't know how I'd feel if someone tried to murder my child. I feel like I would go monkey crazy.
Die in a fire.
I'd be like, you know what, I would drown you myself. So he was very tolerant, this guy.
Yeah, his only daughter also.
That's the thing.
Not that it would have been better if he had other daughters.
I've got others, it's okay. But
I got spares.
It was a child that he wanted for so long.
Yeah. And his favorite.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, did you even see where the brothers were? Nope.
We don't know their names.
So my only source of this was The Best of African Folklore by Phyllis Savory. And then obviously Wikipedia for a bit of background. It's just a so cute one.
Thank you for that. Yeah, really lightened the mood after the Biloki thing.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad I went afterwards because that was heavy.
Well, anyway, we hope that you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, do like, subscribe, review, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Speaking of review, you can either review us on iTunes or on Podchaser.
Yeah, we're also looking to get on a new African-only podcast site named Afropods. Yeah, okay. So a new site named Afripods, where I think you probably would also be able to subscribe and possibly review. So look out for that as well. Also, if you are looking forward to Father's Day, we're going to have a special Father's Day episode on Monday next week. So, if you want to give your dad a shout out or do something special for him, we would be happy to read that out on the podcast.
That's true. Any messages you like to send to your father, we can totally read that.
Even if you want to send a personal voice message, that's totally cool with us. Let's appreciate the fathers of the world.
Fathers or father figures, eh?
Yeah, no, I mean, when I say father, I literally mean anyone
You
who
consider.
has been considered as some form of paternal figure.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, so until next time, stay safe,
Stay sexy.
and stay legendary.
Bye.